This recipe combines two of Jamaica's most delicious foods into one banger treat and made better with a bit of cheese. I will show you the tasty easy way how to make a delicious jerk sauce, and then my favorite way. This takes a bit of time, but great things usually do. Let's get into it. The first thing we will be working on is the patty crust. I have a couple different recipes on this channel, but this by far is the easiest and most accessible one. It's only 4 or 5 ingredients with a straightforward method.
This is 10 ounces of all-purpose flour. A tablespoon of curry powder. A tablespoon of brown sugar. Alright, so this is 4 ounces of butter. It's barely chilled, still very solid.
Beef suet is what's traditional in patty crust, but butter is more accessible.
Just making some really thin slices.
Usually you layer the fat in the dough or laminate it like you would do with puff pastry, but this is a crude workaround. Speaking of, puff pastry probably works really well with this recipe, so that's an option.
Next, I want some icy cold water. I'm using a squeezy bottle. With the squeezy bottle, I have better control over how much water I put in. The ice cubes are still trapped inside. So what I'm doing now is just pressing out the butter really flat. This is what's going to give me the flakes in the patty crust.
So I'm trying to not completely mix in the butter. I want bits of flat butter still in this because that's going to give me the layers in the final product. I'm going to squirt a bit of the ice water to hydrate this slowly. The icy water is keeping the butter solid. I don't usually hydrate my dough fully because it ends up tacky anyways.
So what I'll do though is separate this in two, so you know it's easier to work with later. Just kind of ball it up and add it to that. Raw patty crust though is temperature sensitive, so handling it like this actually works out. So yeah, so these are going in the fridge. To get my cups, I'm going to use a muffin pan. If you wanted smaller portions, you could use a cupcake pan, but I like this size. Grease this generously with butter. This is non-stick, but if it was not non-stick, I would probably line this with grease paper. Alright, so this is one half of the dough. So I need a bit of flour to stop this from sticking. Also going to flour the dough. This is pretty hard from the butter solidifying from the coal. Need some flour and that rolling pin too.
Using that rolling pin to press it out makes rolling so much easier. This is completely chilled, so it's super solid. This will have irregular edges, especially if it's really cold. Giving this a couple folds fixes that. This will get very sticky as it warms up, so flour generously. I'm rolling this out to a few millimeters, but for this recipe, it's better to have a crust that's too thick than too thin. So to cut this out, I'm going to use one of my bowls. Anything you can find that fits this perfectly works. So I'm going to place the bowl over and just use a knife to cut out a round. I don't have a cookie cutter big enough for this, so this is the workaround, but these don't have to be perfect circles. That thickness should be good. So next, I'm just going to place these in. It could even be a square because it will still take the shape of the pan. I think I like the crimpled edges.
Nice, so I'm just going to set back this in the fridge along with our trimmings and grab the next half. You know, be generous with the flour. This is kind of tacky. This is also very crumbly, but that will change as the dough slowly warms up. So I'm just going to run with it until we get there.
Give this a couple folds to make it more regular. Working this helps to warm it up, so I still have to move quick. If you're enjoying the video so far, drop a like, or if you want to see more, just hit that subscribe button. I post fresh videos at least once a week.
So here we go. It's a bit missing off the edge, but that's fine. Grab the put my trimmings together. So this will give me about 3 or 4 more cups, but it won't be as flaky as the first batch because it's, you know, I work it a bit more. I'm going to put this in the fridge for another batch. So these now,
I'm making sure I press out any air pockets in the bottom of the pan.
So I'll just chill these in the fridge until our filling is ready and we can fill them up and get to baking.
I actually ended up placing these in the freezer. Let's make some jerk chicken, but first I need to make this banger jerk marinade. This is extremely flavorful and versatile.
So we'll start with ginger. It's a roughly 3-inch. 1 medium onion. Couple stalks of scallion. 1.5 head of garlic. This is not typical in a like jerk marinade, but celery is kind of old, so just using them up. This is a lot of flavor, packs a punch. Dried pimento or allspice. This is essential in jerk marinade. This is about 1/4 cup of brown sugar. I have 2 scotch bonnet pepper. This is also essential in a jerk marinade. And of course, fresh thyme.
Well, because dry thyme is a scam. I'm going to grate in half of a nutmeg. This adds a lot of depth to the marinade. I also need some freshly squeezed OJ.
I'm just going to use half of this, the juice of half.
Other citrus fruits work really well in jerk, like lime or lemon. It adds flavor and also tenderizes the meat.
About a tablespoon of salt. Half cup soy sauce.
A lot of beers work, but I have a strong preference for a red stripe beer. This is my favorite beer to drink as well as use for jerk. The flavored red stripe lights are really fun. Half of this is about half cup and that should do. I'm going to roughly blend this.
That smells really good. Beer and orange juice and everything combined together. Wow. Yeah, that's a proper jerk marinade. So I'm using the leg and thigh quarter of the chicken.
The dark meat of the legs and thigh are harder to overcook, more flavorful and stay juicier than breast meat, but I will still show you how to handle breast meat to get the same results. I'm using a skewer to puncture this so the marinade soaks deeper into the meat. You know, season to the bone some.
So I'm only using salt and black pepper. That marinade is full of flavor, so I don't really need to do much else.
I'm seasoning this lightly with salt. The marinade is proper salty from the soy sauce and added salt, so I'm being conservative.
Just pour over enough to like fully coat everything.
For the very best results, I'm going to wrap this up and let it marinate overnight in the fridge.
35 to 40 minutes minimum is still good to get a proper marinade on this. So
chicken breast time. I'm going to cut this into strips. Chicken breast overcooks easily, but I'm going to show you how I handle this for maximum flavor and texture. Most Jamaicans hate chicken breast. I know people who don't even eat it while still eating other parts of the chicken. That's probably because a lot of us overcook our food, and breast is not really enjoyable when you overcook it. Just like the thighs, I'm going to season this lightly with salt and pepper. Then add just enough of that jerk marinade to coat each piece. This smells so good and looks great. For the best results, let this rest from 20 to 30 minutes to overnight in the fridge. I always make extra jerk marinade because it's so versatile. I use it to add a ton of flavor to other dishes. A little bit in rice and peas or some brown stew chicken is bomb. I usually keep this a few days in the fridge. If I'm storing longer, it goes into the freezer. Alright, chicken legs and thighs are ready. That has soaked up a lot of the flavor from the marinade.
Just going to take off the extra marinade so I don't have a lot of burning when this go in the oven.
Those small bits of season will burn before everything else.
Alright, that is going to make our delicious sauce.
350 degrees for 40 to 50 minutes in the oven should cook this right through and give me some delicious color. While that's cooking, let's make this quick, easy and very delicious jerk sauce.
So I'm going to hit that with a bit of oil. This is about 2 tablespoons brown sugar.
I'm going to let the sugar caramelize and brown. This gives the sauce a lot of depth and a more mellow flavor. This needs your full attention though, because this will burn, so you should be close by with the marinade. As soon as it gets frothy, add the marinade. The wet marinade will stop it from burning immediately. It's a bit technical, but getting this right adds so much depth to your sauce, it's 100% worth it. I like to cook off the extra liquid before adding the other ingredients.
Time for the liquids. I have some red stripe here. Just going to add about 1/4 cup. Half cup of soya sauce. About 1/4 cup of pineapple juice. And a cup of tomato ketchup. I'm just going to let this simmer for maybe 5-10 minutes, but before that I'm going to give it a taste to see if we need to adjust anything. That's good.
While that's simmering, let's cook the chicken breast. This is the easy way.
Alright, so this is my marinated chicken breast. What I usually like to do is let the temperature come up a bit before I saute. I don't want to saute this cold because it won't get a nice sear on it. So I like to leave it at room temperature for a little bit. So I'm using a heavy cast iron pan on high heat to saute the chicken. Cast iron pan is going to give me a nice sear. Thick pan will really hold on to that heat so I can get a nice sear, maybe some browning. Hit that with a bit of oil and just let that get hot, like really hot. Alright, that nice and hot.
So to get maximum flavor and stop this from overcooking, I simply add the chicken and let it brown on one side without stirring. As soon as I get the browning I want on the first side, I'm just checking to see how we did. As soon as I get that browning, I'm going to toss for 1 to 2 minutes more. That's enough to cook the rest of the chicken. This technique gets me the best of both worlds. Flavorful brown chicken that's still juicy. Even after baking in the patty cups, these should still be great.
So we have, a little bit of color. So that little bit of color on there, I think these are cooked but still very juicy. Yeah, that little bit of color is a lot of flavor. So that's good. Yeah, that's really good. So I'm just going to set this aside.
It looks like the oven jerk chicken is finally done. This is a solid oven jerk chicken recipe if you're just looking to make jerk chicken. I have a full video dedicated to just oven jerk, so you can check that out after you're done with this one. I'm just pulling the meat from the bones. I could let this cool first, but using 2 forks is pretty effective. Usually by the time I'm done, it's cool enough to be handled. This jerk chicken skin is extremely delicious, so it's going into the patty cup fillings with the rest. I could shred this down some more, but I enjoy bites of chunky jerk chicken over shredded chicken. I'm just chopping these into more consistent sizes. Still a bit of meat on the bones. This really good, even the bones are edible.
Just gonna set this aside for now, then check in on the sauce, see how that's doing. Yeah, it's been roughly 10-15 minutes. The sauce has reduced a bit. Give it another taste. It's good. It's a bit tangy from the ketchup and the pineapple juice, but I think that's actually a good thing, so let's run with it. Alright, so I'm going to strain off the solids. Yep, and that's the jerk sauce.
Next, I'm simply going to toss the pulled chicken in a bit of the jerk sauce. This would be nice with some pasta right now. The smell of this, oh gosh man.
This is going into the fridge to cool. I don't want to fill the cups while this is still hot, because that's going to really mess up my dough. So I'm gonna chill this down. Alright, this is completely cool now. I'm just gonna hit that with some of the jerk sauce.
So this is the chicken breast, and you might have noticed that it's a lot less now. Yeah, who knows where that ended up.
That's maybe a bit too much jerk sauce, but let's run with it.
Alright, everything is coming together nicely, but I need some cheese. This is a bit of low moisture mozzarella. Mozzarella adds richness, but it doesn't have a ton of loud flavors, so it works really well with the jerk chicken. And who no like cheese pulls? I also want some sliced scallion in this for flavor and presentation. I'm going to toss this. That bowl is way too small.
Alright, time to fill them up.
It's probably not necessary, but I ended up placing the patty crust in the freezer so they are completely solid. This will stop the crust from getting soggy before it has a chance to cook.
So I'm going to do 3 with the oven jerk chicken, and the other 3 with the sauté jerk chicken. So this is the sauté jerk chicken breast. And then hit that with cheese. Alright, oven time.
The oven is preheated to 350 degrees.
I'm going to start it on the bottom rack so the patty crust can cook up completely, and then move it to the top rack so the cheese can, get a bit of color.
I'm doing it this way because the heating elements in my oven are on both the top and the bottom. After about 10 minutes, I will move this to the top rack. This has the added benefit of not overcooking the cheese before it browns. Maybe I'm overcomplicating things, because this will still be good if you just put it in a hot oven and let it do its thing for around 20 minutes.
Now they're ready. Nice.
Damn, that looks so good and smells heavenly. It's like bust and jerk and juicy patty had some babies. That cheese on top is browned perfectly.
Ooh. That's hot.
I can't wait to try this, but they are still very hot. The thing about this is it holds on to heat for a really long time. That's a very nice snack. Alright, enough suspense. Let's see how we did. I don't want 3rd-degree burn, so I'm using a knife and fork to get this open. Oh gosh, this looks like a million. I'm really tired of salivating. Ooh yes, that is it. The tanginess of the sauce balances out the rich taste of the cheese and patty crust, so yeah, that tanginess was actually a good thing. Everything came together so well, it's like taking peak Jamaican food and combining the best.
Piece of skin from earlier. Skin tastes really good. I have the final bite. Well, that looked like 2 bites, but damn.
This was great. You want to see something else great? Check out this video that YouTube thinks you will like. Catch you in the next one.